Good morning. Welcome to Clifford's Corner, encouraging, empowering, equipping, educating, and entertaining you. That's what we do. I want to let you know that the show is sponsored by Golden D Hairline, bonnets, bows, weaves, wigs, eyelashes, eyelash extensions, a lady's edge control. I'm always going to go back to that and so much more. Visit their website at goldendhairline.com. Today, we will be talking about love language for your child, child or children. Love language for your child or children. Our special guest today is Cynetia. I'm going to call her Nisha Nelson. is our guest on the show today. So we're going to bring her in real.
Hello.
There we go. There we go. Technical difficulty. So good morning, Nisha. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. So actually, I reached out to Nisha a while back. Nisha and I have known each other since about 2009. And I will say this, I have literally watched her boys grow up into outstanding young men. It is literally, and I'm gonna say this, Nisha, this is not, has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I don't know if I shared this with you, but a while back, Kyron was being recognized at the National Women of Achievement. And I was there, and I noticed in his bio, he mentioned my name several times. And I will tell you that I cried all the way home because I had no idea the impact until later when I had a conversation. I had no idea. And I guess, and I don't want to get churchy, because this is not the churchy show. We're going to do that later. But I read that, you know, when you plant the seed, God allows the increase. But a lot of times, we want to at least see the sprout come out of the ground. And at that point, God did allow me to see that. And I think that was, you know, something that speaks highly about you and the village that raised them and have a relationship with them. I know when we needed, when we were going to national, and Kyra stepped up, you know, and went with us. I think we went to Atlanta and a couple of places we went. And they're always respectable. She has two respectable sisters. If you got daughters out there, yeah, you're welcome, Nisha. And you know what I'm saying. And they looking for good men. You need to holler at my brother. Now, wait a minute. Don't let me find out. You put your ratchet daughter in their life, you know, because you know, I ain't always saved. You know, I'm gonna introduce that iron to the game. Okay, so we're back. So we're talking about the language of love, and I just want to talk about how we love our children. What do we do when we are loving our children? So we're speaking from the standpoint of parents first, Nisha and I, and then we're speaking from having the village that we raised. So let's talk about, Nisha, what do you think from the beginning, starting from as the baby? What do you think the basis of loving your child, the language love needs to look like from the beginning?
Discipline, structure, and a routine.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, your children on different levels. Of course, we love them the same, but at a very early age, they definitely show you that they need to be loved a different way. And my two sons are 2.5 years apart, and they are totally different. They look totally different. One's my chocolate and one's my vanilla. They have two different personalities, and I had to learn very early in their life to love them differently. And that's where we mess up. We compare the one to the other and want them to both line up together, and it doesn't work like that.
Right. So when we're talking about the love language, now notice what she did. They have two separate identities, which means they got two separate personalities. And as a parent, she took it upon herself to learn or to monitor them so I can see, okay, I got each one, the love ratio or whatever, how I'm rationing it out, has to be different to suit their identities. I think a lot of times where parents mess up and we're not. Wait, good morning, Jackie Foreman. How are you? The language has to be different, and then we have to identify as parents how to love. And I'll say this: I think sometimes parents we get confused by loving them the same way. You know, some children, when you're talking about love, require more attention than the others, and that's more love attention. So I know, just in my simple way of thinking, love is an action word, and let me prove it. I can say that I love my wife a million times. That that she might not believe. She might not believe that. She better believe it. Okay, but words, where I put it into words is one thing. Love is an action word, meaning their actions are deeds, and sometimes the telling your child you love them can only take you so far. Yeah. Showing them that you love them is a different story. Now, Nisha, I heard you use the word discipline. Talk about how you show you love your children when it comes to discipline. And now, listeners, listen to this, because some of y'all got to get this. Go ahead, Nisha, go.
Well, my sons are 24 and 21. I still have to discipline them. They're very humble, very respectful, but I discipline them by guiding them how to become great men. So I have to take my hand off of some things and make them do some things as grown men versus as when I was mom and they depended on me. But as a child, I did spank them. One got more spankings than the other.
Wait. No, you didn't spank. You know, in our culture, we whoop. You don't spank.
Well, yeah, but that youngest one, it was an element of surprise thing. I couldn't say I'm gonna whoop you. I had to just go do it because he would get ghost. But a lot of times, I didn't. They understood that I demanded respect from a very early age, and then I was a single mom. Not maybe 5, 7. I became a single mom, and so they understood from the tone in my voice, the look in my face, and they knew that I had a village. So they knew even if they was trying to act up with me, that there were other people on the outside that was going to intervene. So the fear of them knowing that everybody could discipline them helped my kids understand that you had to respect everybody. You had to be in an environment where you were comfortable with taking criticism or discipline from everybody. And so that's how I disciplined them. I allowed them to know that there was a village. There was no secrets. With my mistakes, I explained my mistakes that I made in life. We had open communication. They knew mom wasn't perfect. And that's where I feel like we lose our kids because we don't want our kids to know our past. Right. And so when they mess up, we're on them hard. They don't know why we're on them hard. Well, we're looking at them making the same mistakes. But if you would just communicate with your kids, I think their mistakes are going to happen, but they will understand that this is just a part of life cycle. So I was very open with my sons. We talked about everything under the sun at a very early age.
Right.
So we kind of grew together.
Right. So if you're just now joining the show, we have Cynetia Nelson guest today. Yeah, you're welcome. So I heard a couple of things, but one thing that I think stuck out, and parents, this is not a parenting course. We're basing this on Clifford and Cynetia, how we raised our children, because we both got boys. And they doing well. So the thing that I think parents need to do relative to love is particularly with the discipline part. You got to start out early with that. You can't wait until they 8 or 9, and then you try this because they don't understand. You've been letting me get away with this crap for 8 years, and now all of a sudden you trying to discipline me, and they looking at you like, "Are you crazy? Why you telling me to sit down? Wait a minute, wait. And this is free for the listeners. I hate to tell y'all this. Stop freaking counting to 10. Stop turning the chair and put it in the doggone corner. Get you a belt. Y'all writing this down? Get you a belt and whoop. Yeah, I'm not taking that back. Look. I hate to say this. When we started allowing other people that don't look like us in our community, and we start raising our kids how they raise our kids, that's why we looking like them. we didn't. When I came up, I'm like Nisha said, we had a community on Convent Street. Everybody within a 2-mile radius of Convent Street could whip you, and they'll call on that phone before you get home, get to tell your lie. The word we already got to the house when you get there. And then my parents would, God rest their soul, my parents would wait and see if I was on live. Seeing what it was, I had a twin. So what was really strange was my daddy taught us not to snitch on each other. He told us don't snitch on each other. But wait, but let me show you how he turned it around on us. When it came time, we both showed up, and the word already got that we messed up. Who did it? So he waited to see who going to. So you already know you was gonna get a whipping, so we just didn't say nothing. But the fact of the matter is that the village, like Nisha said, was able to discipline, and they not only did they discipline us. I don't want anybody to get it twisted. Not only did they discipline us, but they nurtured us as well. They weren't just there to go rat on you and say you did this. They would pull you to the side and say, "Hey, how you doing in school? How are your friends? The people that you hang on." They did all of that. So one thing again that I applaud Nisha for raising boys, period, as a single parent, and I got some single parents that I know, I tip my hat to you, particularly in today's society, because it's hard raising boys. But if you start early as their children, and start and laying the foundation, hey, this is how if you parent, stop negotiating with your children. So Nisha, we talked about this one. So how would we correct our children in love? Tell us how you did that?
I didn't do much punishing because I understood that became a habit and it became a routine, so they knew it was coming. In love, I kept them busy. That little extracurriculum activity stuff that they wanted to do, we steered away from that. You did what I wanted you to do. So outside of school, I kept them in church. They had to participate in something in church.
They did.
Then whether it was the choir or the drill team, you had to do something at church. You couldn't just sit there, so you had to be active. They did boys' rites of passage as well at church. They had extracurriculum at school, but it was something that could take them somewhere if they chose to, whether it was football, basketball, or theater, arts, and choir. They didn't have much lenient time to just sit at home and play games or talk on the phone and text like kids do now. I really consumed a lot of their time, but I made it in such a routine form that they knew at the beginning of the day it was going to be this, and this is what we had to do all the way through the day. So during the week with school, it was very structured, very structured.
Right.
My kids on weekend, Kyron played that football, and we knew we were going to be out there all day Saturday. So that Saturday was like wrapped. Then on Sunday, you go to church, and that's time for us to relax. I kept their schedule very busy and very structured. They didn't have a lot of leeway time, so I didn't have to do a lot of punishing.
Right.
I did instant punishment, and then we went on about our business. I didn't have to do like, give me your phone for 2 weeks and all that.
Right. Right. And sometimes parents get the misconception that correcting your child does not mean that you love them. I'm correcting you because I do love you, let me see. That's kind of when people, Diane Word from Corpus Christi, good morning, said that, when you get a whipping, why? It's because I never understood why my mother said, I'm whipping you because you love me, really. But when I had children, because I don't know about y'all, Anisha, but when we came up, if the office that you work for, that you kind of related, if they knew we was getting whippings like that, I know my mother and daddy would have been in jail for life. they would threw the book at him and wait, you whipping them like that? But you know what? I can say on the other end of that, I have seen where parents that neglected, and I'm going to use the word neglect, that neglected to discipline their children now at 13 or 14 years old, even younger than that, 7 or 8, you can't tell them nothing. I wish Zachary or Malcolm would tell me get out their room. Man, please. I've told my children, just look like you want to swing on me. You gotta act like, just look like, and we're gonna have a problem. we know that we can discipline our children in love. We can correct them in love. Now, let's talk about nurturing them. I think the misconception of nurture might mean give them everything they want. Nurturing, to me, is a multitude of different things. I use the analogy of a basket and pouring different bottles or bowls, pouring different things into that bowl for one sole purpose. So talk about nurturing. How did you nurture your children in love? Go.
I just want to give one example of my mom. My mom loves me, and she knows this. She loved me with material things and money because my mom was a single mom, and she worked, a full-time job at an oil company, but she also worked part-time jobs. And I remember my mom saying, "This job pays the bills. This job allows us to go shopping at Saks Fifth Avenue and Joski's to get you pretty little dresses, and then this job allows us to do our 2-week vacation in the summertime." But I remember at 9, I wanted my mom just to be there and love me because I was a latchkey kid. I came home after school by myself. Then I went to my aunt and uncle's while she went to her part-time job. I made a big effort not to raise my kids like that. So when I raised Kyron and Cameron, you couldn't just get because you wanted it. You had to earn it. Right. And they also knew that for Christmas, if you wanted something for Christmas, I need to know what you want in August because I had to put it on layaway. Right. So I think I nurtured my kids by being very realistic with them about how surviving and what's necessary and what's a want and what's a need, how to pay the bills. I just was very open with how real life operated versus giving them a fairy tale story like money grow on trees outside, and so whenever you wanted it you could have it. My sons understand the value of money, and they understand the importance of taking care of home first versus going out and spending all your money on material things. So I think just by me being very open and communicating as we were growing together helped nurture my sons now to where they are very frugal. Their credit scores are great because mom has taught them things that I didn't know. Like my mom said, I didn't know to teach you about credit cards, and how to pay them or whatever. But when I got the knowledge, I started teaching my sons how not to be in a predicament that I found myself in.
Right. Okay. Let me pull over and recognize our sponsor. Our sponsor for today's show, Golden D Hairline Bonnets, bows, weaves, wigs, eyelashes, eyelash extensions, edge control, and so much more. Visit their website at goldendhairline.com. So we talked about, Nisha, we talked about nurturing and teaching our kids. Even nurturing is more than just teaching you no, but it's teaching you, like you said, building blocks that will help you in the long run, teaching you not to go, save your money. Leon English told me and my brother in a nice way that if you hang around 4 broke Negroes, and that's not the word he used, you're gonna be number 5 and you're gonna be number 6. And that's true. My mother said it this way: you are the sum total of your environment. So I try to teach my boys that you're not better than anybody else, but you need to be better. You need to strive to make sure that I try to be an example to when you have boys. I don't want my son to see me swinging on my wife or cussing her out and stuff like that. And I do put this disclaimer on because as parents, as people, we're not perfect. I do tell my sons that if you hear me say something that's inappropriate to anybody, that does not give you the green light to say, "Oh, this is how." No, because you know right from wrong. So don't do it. Any parent that says their child has never heard them say a bad word is a liar. We got some cusses out there listening, and I know doggone well. So when Malcolm was young, I was working at a school with him doing volunteer work, and it was amazing to me. This little boy, I know his parents, and they was straight up crazy, and he heard every word in the book. So when the school called him and said, "Okay, we can't deal with what's coming out of his mouth," the mother had the audacity to come to the school, clowning, and saying, "Okay, why y'all treating my child like that?" And I had to pull her to the side because I knew her and say, "Wait a minute. Look at how you came up here first. You came up here with a thing. Well, I don't know what that was on her head, a gown. Came in there smelling like weed. I mean, straight crazy. Talking crazy, cussing. I said he's imitating because children imitate their atmosphere. They do. So we talked about disciplining in love. We talked about correcting in love. We talked about nurturing in love. Now, tell us how we can say no in love, because that's crucial. Wait, before you answer that, I see where people, they don't say no in love. They cave. For instance, everybody's gone into a large box store and seen a child where they want a piece of candy in their checkout aisle. They got the candy over to the right, and the parent tells them no, and they stretch smooth out in the store. Wait. I'm gonna tell this quick story real quick. So I was at an open house and I was carrying my stuff down. The open house was over, and the little boy, he had to be 8 or 9 years old, maybe 8, was under the table. Now, I'm carrying my stuff down, and the dad tells him, "Come from under the table." So I stop what I'm doing because I'm nosy, and I'm looking over there. The boy never moved. It's like the man wasn't even talking to me. So he goes over and tells the little boy, I'll give you some blah, 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 whatever, if you come from under that table. As soon as he said that, the little boy came, which was suggested to me that this is the only way you can. So me being crazy and knows, I said, well, let me go over there. So I told him, I said, sir, I have children. I have boys. I said, and do you mind if I give you some advice? I said, let me give you some advice. That what you just did, you're going to have to continue to do that. I said, what I would have done is I would have told him, come from under that table. There ain't going to be no part two. Part two was going to be, I'm going to whoop you from up under that table. Right. For those of y'all who whip, I'm going to whip you from up under that table. I'm going to snap your tail from up under that table, because we don't roll like that. He just kind of looked at me. He looked at me like I was telling him something he didn't know. So saying no, we can do it in love. But back to that question, Nisha, how we say no in love?
And that's what I was just getting ready to say. It is a no. There is no part 2, no part 3. There is no compromising. There is even no questioning. Because if I say no, I mean that. No is just 2 letters. But if you ask me a question and I give you a reasoning behind it, then that means it's a wavery no. But when I say no, it is no. And like you say, with that scenario, I mean, Kyron has done some things in the store, and I used to sing that song, clown me and I clown you back. So if we in Walmart and you want to run rings around the clothes, and I'm telling you to stop running around the clothes, and then you want to hide in the clothes, you clowning me because I've already said it out loud. Right. So I'm going to clown you and I'm going to whip your butt right here in this Walmart. Right. And it only took 2 times. But again, once you say no, you have to stand firm with that no. Once you give a directive statement, you have to stand firm with that, because kids today, oh, thank you, Jesus, I don't have little ones, but they are very challenging, very challenging today, because they do test you, and they're very smart, and they're on this internet, and they're technology savvy. They got all the stuff that my kids at 24, 21 didn't have then. And so you have to be very firm with what you mean. I mean what say what you mean and mean what you say.
Right. So for those parenting, the no needs to be no with the inflection in your voice needs to be no period or exclamation point, and not no with a question mark. Because when they are kids nowadays are their perception level is elevated. They know what they can get away with, and they know who they can get away with and with. So I think a lot of parents think that they're not nurturing if they don't tell their child no. Well, here's the downside of that. If you keep telling them yes, then when life gives them a no, they're not gonna know how to handle it. That's why you see these kids going into these schools, shooting up people, going into these neighborhoods, doing crazy stuff to kids that don't have nothing to do with them, because they don't know how to deal with the word no. So telling people no me telling you no as a parent, telling a child no does not mean I don't love you. It might mean I'm stopping you from something that you don't need. I know when I would ask my mom, we would ask to go places, and she would say no, and it wasn't no. Well, do you mind telling us why we can't go? Everybody's going, and they didn't start out. They didn't start out telling us. For me, I don't have to tell when my boys were young. I don't have to explain to you why I said no. The no is because I told you no. Now, if I feel like it, which I never did, explaining to you what. There was only one time I distinctly remember telling Zachary no, only to find out a place that he wanted to go, they were shooting over there later on. So I believe that there's an inside voice to say, no, you better not let him go. And sometimes, even if you don't hear that inside voice, it's a good idea to say no, so you can see their response. And parents, when you tell them no, don't let them storm off. Don't let them go. And wait a minute, and deliver me from these parents and let them go in there and slam the door to the room. Yeah, I know you wishing, Karen. I can see that look on your face. They won't. They see, and that's another thing, because they don't know how love works. They don't know how love means me telling you no, because you never told them no. Now they're 15 or 16. You've been buying them the new Jordans, you've been buying them the new Xbox, you even bought them a car, and they telling you what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. Their grades are very, very low. They're just a dysfunctional child. And when you tell them no, the next thing you know, as a parent, you turn up dead. We have to start with, when we start talking about the language of love relative to our children, it's got to start when they're young. You have to, like Nisha said, you got to establish some boundaries. You got to establish that. You got to make sure they know what the boundaries are. Okay, so Nisha, as a parent, I'm getting ready to close out the show here in a little bit. We've got 3 minutes. So tell me, as a parent, what type of advice would you give to those parents, whether they be single parents, new parents, about how to love, how to love their children?
Love them like you want to be loved. You have to show love in all relationships with other family members, in your relationships with your friends. Like we were talking about, mimicking the environment. Your children know when you genuinely love someone or when you genuinely care for someone. Talking bad about somebody, that creates them an environment of it's okay to talk bad about somebody. So just watching how you carry yourself. And again, I say the thing that has carried me and my sons this far is me just being open. There was no topic that we could not talk about. There's nothing you can't tell me. I set them down on several occasions and told them flaws that I had made with certain situations that they witnessed or saw me in. Didn't leave them wondering to go think and figure out what happened or them talking to each other. We talked about the divorce. We talked about the marriage. We talked about the pregnancies before getting pregnant before I got married. We had a whole conversation about all of my mishaps. And what I find my kids saying all the time, that a lot of their friends' parents are not like me. I'm different. I don't have I'm open. I can sit down and talk to your friends. We can sit down and have an open relationship. But one thing my kids do know is that I'm about my business when it comes to me raising my kids. And the girls that they date understand I love my sons just like their mom loved their daughters. And so when you put that out in the atmosphere, it makes a safe haven for your children to know that not only can they come to me, they can go to anybody else. Anybody that I introduce my kids to, they know that that's a safe haven. So I just created a safe zone place for my boys,
Right. Okay, great. So Nisha, I want to thank you for first. I think I started talking about this, but I had a brain cramp. Nisha, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about coming up with a topic. So she basically came up with this topic when we invite people on the show. So I'm gonna have you back, Nisha, again, real soon. So wait. Now I know you thought you was going to get out of here, but wait. I got one more thing. No, wait. I got one more thing. Y'all don't know Nisha sings. You welcome. I know what you're saying. I see the look on your face. You welcome, Nisha. Now I want you to pick. You said if I clown you, I'll clown you back. Now it don't have to be. It don't have to be religious. I want you to just pick. Just give me a little short, little snippet, just a little something. And I'm gonna harmonize on the end when you bring it in, because people don't know I sing too.
Cause you can sing too.
Okay, all right, go. It's on you though.
Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones who live below, they are weak, but he is strong.
Wait a minute.
Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. I thought you was harmonizing with me.
I said,
yes, Jesus loves me, for the Bible tells me so.
Oh, so again, hey, right there. So you're welcome, Nisha. Thank you, Nisha, for being on the show. You are awesome. So I want to thank her for being on the show for coming up with the title, What is the Love Language of Your Child? Hats off to you, Nisha. You have done an awesome job. I love your sons. They know that. I love you for raising your boys. They are respectable, and they are making worthwhile contributions to society. So you are an example, Nisha, real talk, of how a black woman, and I'm not bringing racism, but you are black, a black woman can successfully raise their children and even bring out the bumps and the bruises and the knots along the way, and that you can still be successful. So thank you again for being on the show, and we'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so we thank Nisha for being on the show. Let me get my screen right there. We go. Once again, the show is brought to you by Golden D Hairline, bonnets, bows, weaves, wigs, eyelashes, eyelash extensions, edge control. Ladies, you need to get that done, and so much more. Visit their website at goldendhairline.com. So again, we want to thank you for joining the show. Don't forget to like the Clifford's Corner Facebook page. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, like us on Facebook, Clifford's Corner Facebook page. Follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's our information right there. Don't forget to join us next Saturday at 10 a.m. Thank you.